In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you H.E.R.'s songwriting method and how she approaches, in particular, writing lyrics and the story of the song, and how to resonate that with the listeners, how to be authentic to yourself, and make the songwriting process easier so you can get a greater, more powerful song at the end of the songwriting process. Now, I took a deep dive into her songwriting masterclass and looked at the process and the approach that she has around songwriting, and as I've mentioned, in particular, lyrics. Lyrics are such an important part of the process. It's how we tell a story to listener, and some of the things I took away from that masterclass I want to share with you so you can implement it into your songwriting. Now, my name's Danny Boyle. I'm the founder of Songwriters International. If you're a songwriter who wants to write better, stronger songs with melody, lyrics, structures, rhyme, and all of the other components of the songwriting process and wants to improve, then you're in the right place. I've put together a completely free masterclass in the description below as well to the simple two-step approach that I have when songwriting that has allowed me to amass millions of plays on songs that I've written for other artists, that simplifies the entire approach, that makes songwriting far easier. So if you want to watch that, then go ahead, register below and go and watch that stuff. Now, let's dive into this. The songwriting process of H.E.R. I found it really interesting. And the first thing and the first tip I want to share with you is that if you play an instrument, you want to keep it simple, because it doesn't matter the chord progressions that you're playing. She was playing 2 chords, super simple, and it's about the story. It's about the message that you're conveying to your listener and not the chord progressions that you put together. So for the example that I'm going to share with you here, I'm just going to be using the C, or the C at 9, the G, and the D. It is really that simple. And of a songwriter of her level, it just shows how easy it is to put some simple chords together and then really focus on the other areas of songwriting. So how she starts the initial songwriting process is finding some simple chord progressions. As I've mentioned, we're going to put our simple chord progression together, and we're just going to, in her words, spit out gibberish, okay? We're just going to put out any words that come to our mind in the process of songwriting. We're not going to overthink it. We're not going to send ourselves into overdrive. We are quite literally just playing some chords, and we're going to sing out what comes to our mind. Something like this. I've been thinking about you lately. Oh. I've been I've been thinking about you lately, you're all up my mind. Now what we've done there is we've played some simple chords, but we've started to just put out random words. We don't know really what we're trying to say at this moment in time. We're just putting out gibberish. And as H.E.R. says, you can quite literally just put out words like that, and it doesn't matter if you sing O's or yes or da-da-das or ba-ba-bas. It's just starting the process. And now what you're going to do is listen to what it is that you've just played. So you might have a phone on record and you might put it next to you. Listen back to it. What were some of the words that you were saying? So for this example, I think I was saying, I've been thinking about you all day long, let's say. So you start to build out the story from that, and you're saying, well, what is that lyric trying to say? I've been thinking about you all day long. Well, is it possibly like a friendship, that they've been friends for a long time and I now need to tell them how I feel? Or is it about a past failed relationship that never worked out and I just can't get this person off my mind no matter how hard I've tried? I've tried to find somebody new. They've also tried to find somebody new, but you can see it's not working for them, right? So you start to put out ideas on the table to what the song could be about, all from those initial little sparks that you got when you were playing some simple chord progressions. Now, for this example, let's just go with the idea that it's about a past failed relationship that never really worked out, but you just can't stop thinking about the other person because they're all that consumes you. What we have done there, and one of the things that I share with all my students, and one of my songwriting processes that I've dropped in that training below, is the point of your song. The biggest part of the songwriting process is figuring out what you're trying to say to your listener and making it clear to yourself as the songwriter what it is you're trying to actually put into the song. Because as soon as you know what you're trying to say, the process becomes easier. So now we understand what we're trying to say is it's a past relationship that didn't work out, but this person can't stop thinking about them. So let's keep with that theme. I was up late last night, trying to get you off my mind. I know it's been 5 years, but it's been too long without you near. Oh, I just want you da 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 da. Okay, so what have I done there? Well, it's been 5 years too long. So maybe the relationship has been 5 years. Done, it's gone. But actually over that period of time, maybe we could be talking about what we tried to do in that period of time to forget the relationship. I try to find someone new, try to get over you, but it didn't da 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 ba 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 da. So I try to find someone new, try to get over you. I think that's pretty cool because, well, it says what we're trying to say. We try to move on, but it didn't work out. Maybe we could talk about we've seen them with new people, but then we've also recently seen them on their own. So we're like building out the story, but we've all started from that initial idea of you're all that I can think about, or you're all that I'm thinking about. And this is a big part of H.E.R.'s songwriting process, is that she'll put the chords together. Super simple. She'll start to put out words, just gibberish. But then what she says, and what's very important, is start listening very carefully to what it is you're actually saying. That's why it's very beneficial to record your ideas so you can go back and just listen. Once you listen to the little pieces that you're saying, not everything's going to work. But then what you can do is pick them out a little bit like a puzzle, little pieces, and then you can start to see what you can fit together. And off those few words, what we've started to do is build out a concept. And this is the backbone of how she goes about her songwriting methods to writing great lyrics and great stories, is that you get a short idea, a short few words that don't necessarily make a whole lot of sense right now. But then you start to build up the concept and you start to expand the story. Now, a very important tip as well from her is that when you are stuck, and this will happen at some part of the songwriting process, you will get stuck. You'll play the chords and you'll be thinking, what am I trying to say? What you need to do is go back to what you've written, whether that's a short few words. So if we were to get stuck in this songwriting process of the song that we're just putting together for this example, let's go right back to the beginning. What is it that we said this song was about? Well, it was about a past relationship that didn't work out, but we can't stop thinking about this person. We want it to work back out. We want to get back together with this person. So that's the point of the song. That's where we need to go back to. And then we need to go back to the guitar, the instrument, and put the pieces together. So now we could also be talking about maybe the other person doesn't want to get back together. The other person doesn't see the flame still there. So that could be a verse too. You told me you don't see the flame burning for me anymore. Now we got that lyric and that idea because we went right back to the beginning. We wanted to figure out what we're trying to say. So if you get stuck at any part of the songwriting process, the biggest tip that I can give you, but also based on the masterclass of H.E.R., is that you need to figure out the point and go back to the concept. What is it that you're actually trying to say? And now this leads me in very well into the next tip, is that your song should be evolving. It should be progressing. And if it isn't, then you're making a big mistake. It's like driving a car. Your car should always be moving forwards. It should always be going in the direction that you want it to. The same with the songwriting process. It should always be progressive and move forwards. So with this song example, we could say that verse 1 is all about how I can't stop thinking about this person. Okay, that all that consumes my mind. Then the pre-chorus could all be about, we need to tell them. We can't keep this locked up in our head, in our heart. We need to tell them how we feel. Can you see how that story is progressive? It's telling something new. So what H.E.R. says, and what I also agree with massively, is that you should be going and looking at your song and analysing whether it is progressive. You shouldn't be saying the same words, but just in a different way. So, for example, if we had a lyric like, I miss you, which is a very standard lyric, I miss you so much, right? For the context of the song. If we then later on in the song had a lyric like, I miss holding your hand, pretty much the same. You're saying in one part of the song you miss them, and then in the other part you're saying I miss holding your hand, right? But you've got specific about a specific thing. But it's still saying the same point. So if you find in your song, and you have to read through the lyrics, that you are saying very similar things, but just in a different type of context, then don't do it. Go about saying something new and fresh that keeps the listener re-engaged. Because otherwise what's going to happen is the listener's going to see that the song's not really progressing in the way that it should, and they're going to either click pause or skip and go on to another song. And one thing you should really understand as a songwriter that H.E.R says, and again I completely agree with it, is that every line counts. Every line in your lyric is another opportunity to solidify a point, to keep the listener engaged, to continue that story evolving. If you are not utilizing every single line, even every single word within the song that you're writing, then you're not writing to the best of your ability. There shouldn't be a lyric within your song that is there just for the sake of being there. It should be there because it has a meaning. It's there because it has a point to being there. It goes back to the main story of your song. Now, another thing I also want to add on, which H.E.R doesn't talk too much about, but I think is crucial, is that once you have an idea and you've put out your gibberish and you've got a concept and you've got an idea, then I would go to a pen and paper, or I'd go to my laptop and I would start scripting out what it is I'm actually trying to say section by section by section. Because what can also happen is you can have an overarching concept, play a few chords, but then get stuck because you don't know what you're trying to say in specific areas. So once you've figured out your concept and you've gone through the gibberish and you've sieved through the gold, then go back again and figure out the parts of the song and what you're trying to say in each section, which then is relating back to your overarching message of your song. This way you have a song that makes sense, that is progressive, and is as impactful as possible. So this is the songwriting process of H.E.R, an incredible songwriter and an incredible talent when it comes to writing music. So take these strategies, implement them into your songwriting process and see what you get out the other side. Now, as I mentioned before, if you want to see my entire songwriting process and exactly the two-step process that has enabled me to get songs with artists to a very high standard and amass millions of plays, then go ahead in that description below and sign up for the training, and I'll share the entire process for you. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment below for any other videos that you'd like to see, and drop a like, and I will see you again on another video.